Okay, listen up. If you wake up clenching your jaw, rubbing your neck, or popping pain pills just to get through the day, stop scrolling and lean in. Our guest, Dr. Joe, he has helped over 1,000 people break out of never-ending loop of TMJ, headaches, dizziness, and neck pain with his PhysioLoop methods. Now, he is a physical therapist. He turned pain strategist, a physical therapist turned pain strategist who mixes deep breathing, gentle movement, and neuro training to reboot the nervous system so you can feel like yourself again. Dr. Joe, welcome to the show. Take a quick moment to say hello to everybody who's listening today.
Well, first of all, Stacey, thank you for having me on the show. I really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'd like to just kind of start by telling everyone a little bit about myself. So, as you stated, I'm a physical therapist. I live here in Jersey as well. And I work with people with TMJ, headaches, and neck pain. And I never thought I would end up in this niche. I was like most young male physical therapists, we're into sports and we want to get athletes faster. And here I am all these years later with TMJ headaches and neck pain. Yeah, I mean, the way that I got into it was that I had a bout of neck pain and headaches and intense brain fog that I was sure would, this will get better next week. That's interesting. This is lasting a month. Oh, this can't last 3 months, can it? 6 months, a year. And it was going on for years. And it really had me scratching my head because, the thing is, I had so many people over the years, because I didn't specialize in this area yet, who would tell me, oh, my jaw pain never goes away. I've had a headache every day for X amount of time. And I never could really connect to it. I always kind of, okay, yeah, I'm sure we could fix this. But once I started to experience it, that's when it actually started registering. And then you start really understanding what's going on, and well, first wanting to understand what's going on, and then
Yeah.
start putting brain into it. And yeah, by going on a deep dive with myself, it kind of attracted other people who were suffering from the same thing, and it's kind of just picked up steam from there.
I love it. What is, what exactly is that loop? And how did you discover that breakthrough steps to snag people out of it?
So you have to think about, the body. There's nothing black and white about the body. We have, what our musculoskeletal system, what people think of as the body, the muscles, the joints, and they move our body. And then we have our nervous system, right? And when we think of the nervous system, we think of stress and pain and fight or flight. And a lot of times, at least in the past, we've put it in two separate buckets. But the
Yeah.
problem with that is it's actually all interconnected. It's a loop. It's one big circle that just keeps moving. And if you
Yeah.
try to just fix one piece of it, the momentum of the other aspects, like the nervous system and even your lifestyle, they just have too much power. And then so they drive you back to your same version of yourself that you were before. Whether that is pain that you've been in, I'm sure and all of us know how hard it is sometimes to pick up a new habit, right? It's like you can't
Yeah.
just say I'm going to do it and do it on Monday morning and think it's going to stick. You have to put your whole mind into it, your whole body into it. You have to use different strategies to really change who you are as a person. And people know this. And people take courses on this, how to be better in my career, how to set habits. They invest a lot of money in it. But with
Yeah.
pain, I started to find that a lot of people were like, oh, well, this should just go away. I'll stretch it and then like I'll use some hot packs. But no, it's that same loop, and we need to rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. Now, what personal or clinical aha moment sparked the creation of PhysioLoops?
So a couple different things. You know, on myself, I can start there. There were certain exercises, if we're talking about the exercise physical therapy piece of it, that would
Yeah.
make things worse. They would trigger headaches. They would trigger a wave of brain fog, neck pain.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of step away from it. And this was the same thing I heard from my patients. I can't do that. That'll cause pain. But then just after trying over and over again and toying with, maybe instead of doing one intense bout, I just do it a little bit spread throughout the day. Okay, so that actually, I noticed if I did that over time, the pain started to go down. Or if I
Yeah.
take this other type of exercise and do that just once a day, that works better. So I was playing with a lot of the intervals, and I started to realize that from that component, like a lot of people who had pain with a specific exercise and never did it again, it was that same exercise that like years later got them out of pain. And so I started to realize that if we just let the pain guide us, we have to play with the variables, how often we do it, how frequently, what the progression is. That's what actually will kind of set you free from the pain. And so
Yeah.
just by testing, I started stumbling upon that. And then over 10 years, just building on it and building on it and toying and testing. And it made me really kind of understand that piece of the progression. But then I started realizing, well, man, I'm thinking, and this is what a lot of the patients would tell me. I think about my pain constantly all day. It's just like you wake up. Am I in pain? Yeah. I'm getting in the car. Am I in pain? Yeah. Oh, I really hope I don't have pain at that meeting today. Oh, I have pain. You keep thinking about it, and
Yeah.
like anything you think about, you're driving deeper that nervous system pathway.
Yeah.
And so, and then also there's emotion. So a lot of people realize on a bad day, what happens, or on a stressful day, their pain exacerbates.
Yeah.
Or before they go to a doctor appointment to talk about the pain, it's worse that day. Emotions tie to the pain, and that dictates how intense it is. And so once I started figuring that out, I started diving into the education and the neuroscience behind pain and realizing if we can educate people on this and having them approach movement with a different mindset, we can get better results. And so that was the next big piece. Those were the two first big pieces of the process.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Like how do you, how do you deep breathe, how does deep breathing and gentle movement and light touch work calm
Mm-hmm.
the nervous system?
So, there's a combination of different ways. So the nervous system, when you've been in pain for a while, so there's
Mhm.
something in neuroscience called the default mode network, which means that whatever state you've been in for a long time, your brain
Yeah.
assumes that that is now where you should be. Like that's your safe zone. That's the temperature that's set on your thermostat. And it starts believing that you need to stay there because once it finds somewhere that it can stay for a while, it wants to keep you there because it's change is always, there's always risk associated with change.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you start trying different movements, trying different things, and your brain tightens you up because it tries to protect you from more pain. And so it's almost like sabotaging your efforts to change. So
Yeah.
a lot of people will think, man, this muscle's always tight. If I could just massage it and stretch it, the situation will be better. But that muscle is tight because your brain is in fear and it's using that default mode network to
Mm,
prevent you from creating change. And so once I started realizing that and learning about that, I started realizing, well, if we can actually calm the nervous system by using deep breathing, for example,
yeah.
or like even the time of day that you use movement, because there's different states for the brain. There's like alpha state, beta state, theta state. The
Yeah.
theta state, when you are in that state, you're more open to change. So doing things in the morning or at night, or there's other things like if you complete a movement and it's
Hmm.
a difficult movement and it's tight, if you make it a multi-sensory experience, like you put music on or you focus on these like this background noises, your
Yeah.
brain stops getting so deeply focused on the fear of that movement that suddenly you're like, wait, how can I move more? The muscle's supposed to be tight. It's not the
Yeah.
muscle, all the nervous system trying to protect you. And so it's a massive, massive piece of it. Um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of some of the ways. And then deep breathing stimulates the in the right way the parasympathetic nervous system, which is more to relax you, stimulates the vagus nerve. So there's like so many directions we can go, but basically your brain's trying to protect you, so the nerves force you to have pain when you move, and you need to retrain the nervous system.
Wow. Now, why are the jaw and the neck issues exploding in the age of screens and stress?
So Uh, basically, first of all, I think as we all know, just being forward or looking down, it
Yeah.
starts tightening up the neck in different areas. And the upper neck, when there's compression there, it can cause dizziness, it can cause headaches, it can cause burning eyes, blurred vision.
Yes.
There's also a connection to the jaw. So when people come in for jaw pain, they could fall in one of three buckets. They could
Yeah.
actually have a true jaw issue, but they could also have a neck issue that's making pain refer to the jaw. So there's nothing wrong with the jaw at all. And then there's
Yeah.
something called stress and clenching. But the reason I bring it up is because when you have an upper neck issue, all of these situations can occur. And by looking down and being forward, you're compressing that area. And then if you have stuff that radiates to the shoulder blades and down the arms and the sides of the neck, that's
Yeah.
the middle and lower neck. And it's that same forward position, and that gets compressed through there. So it's all
So,
about the position that we keep ourselves in.
wow. You know, so how much of chronic headaches and neck pain is physical versus emotional?
It varies for everybody, but it is 100% a combination. So think of it as, you have your let's call it your body, just for simplicity's sake. You have your
Yeah.
body on one side and your nervous system or brain on the other side. Let's just do it like that.
Okay.
If you fix the tension in the muscles, you get the joints moving, they're moving good. So they send a signal up to the brain that says, hey, we're good down there, down here. Your brain, first of all, your brain is the only thing that determines if you experience pain or not. You could have a hammer, smashed on your foot. If your brain doesn't think that you need to experience pain, you won't feel a thing.
Right.
So even if you're treating your body and it sends those signals up to the brain and says, hey, we're good down here, and your brain is dysfunctional, it will
Yeah.
say, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm confused. Send pain down. Right. So in that case, you could fix the body, but then by not fixing the nervous system, you're going to have pain. Likewise, if you start working on the nervous system and you're calming things down and it's like, hey, we're doing better, we're not having headaches, like the muscles are in a better position, but
Yeah.
your body is in a bad position and has restrictions, and your lifestyle, you're looking at your phone and all that, it sends a signal back up to the brain. It says, like, even though you think we're good, we're actually not, and the pain comes. So that's kind of goes back to what I started with. And that's why what I realized, so I have so PhysioLoops is the name of my company, and kind of what we're talking about. It's a physiological loop. And in my programs, I have online programs. What I learned is that you need to push forward everything at once: the lifestyle, the nervous system, the body. Because if you only do one at a time, which a lot of people do, they say, like, for these 3 months, I'll just do like physical exercise. For these 3 months, I'll just work on it. It's the other pieces have too much momentum, like I said before. So pushing everything forward at the right time. Once we started doing that in the program, it's interesting. When I started getting into virtual online stuff, I thought to myself, maybe I'll get like 70% of the result that I could get with someone in person, when I
Yeah.
when I see them. And I thought, and that's good enough, because if people don't have a specialist in their area, like, they'll be happy with that. But then we
Yeah.
started getting testimonials come through, and I would talk to everybody, and we were getting results that were even better than the clinic. And I'm like, what is going on here? I was trying to figure it out. And what I realized is that, even if you go to the best provider or someone with the best hands, if the time that you're away from them is exponentially more than when you're with them. And so
Yeah.
if you don't take it upon you to learn the nervous system strategies, what exercises work for you and don't work for you, when you have a flare up, what to do, how to change your lifestyle. If you don't figure all of those pieces out, like,
Yeah.
no one's going to save you from this. And so what I learned about the virtual component is that they're at home, they need to take on all of this. And then once they start understanding it, just like you study anything you're interested in, stuff starts clicking.
Yeah.
So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I wanted to kind of tie it all together.
No, that's very interesting, and it's very true. It definitely you have to have all the components. You can't just work one at a time. You
Right.
really have to work all of them, or it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. I'm a total true. I'm a testimonial of that. I get that 100%. Now I know that one 5-minute routine listeners can try today that no special gear is required. I know that you probably know one that you could share with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. So we gotta pick. So, well, we could pick a specific pain or just kind of like a general one, because it might depend if someone has jaw pain, headaches, neck pain. There's almost always a combination of them. We could do something pretty general though.
Okay.
So the first thing that we want to do that is just, like, in 90% of people is going to help, is just simply getting their head back over their body. So it's something
Hmm.
I do very, very commonly, where for the people watching, you can see, I'll explain it too for the audio, where you just work on taking your head and bringing it straight back. You can do a 10-second hold and
Hmm.
then release. So basically, what you're doing is you're bringing your head over your body, because as it travels further forward, that's when a lot of the compression happens.
I
So you
can
come,
feel it.
yeah, you can feel it. And again, going back to what I said earlier, in the beginning, if it's new, it may feel a little sore or uncomfortable, but you build up the dosage over time and your body adapts to it. That's
Yeah.
something that, follow the pain. But most people won't have a problem with it. But head back, you would hold 10 seconds and then you would release it. You could then take it a step further where you place one hand behind your head and you lift straight up to take the back of the neck and create space there. And so what you could do is kind of do the tuck backs for 10 seconds. Maybe you can do 10 of them, and then you could do 10 seconds of the pulling. And that's going to take your head and bring it into a more upright position. And we know that that area alone can contribute to neck pain, headaches, even jaw pain. So it's just a good starting point. As far as the nervous system goes, after that, what you would do is pick a movement or an area that triggers discomfort for you. So some people know looking down causes issues. Some people know turning to the side, it's opening the jaw. Instead of doing the go-to, which a lot of people do, which is pull further and
Yeah.
pull further.
Yeah.
That imagine your nervous system is a bunch of little people with a rope trying to pull you to the left, and you're saying it's so tight, I'm going to pull to the right. What are they going to do? They're going to lock their heels in and pull harder. So instead, two different strategies you can do is whichever direction is limited for you,
Yeah.
you probably feel the tension on the opposite side. So what you could do is place your hand on that area and just kind
Hmm.
of make small circles and then slowly tilt into the tight direction.
Oh,
And
that
what
feels
you're
good.
doing, you're building a little bit of trust in the muscle so you can get further. You're calming down the nervous system. And you'd
Yeah.
be amazed at how when you don't try to force it and instead you try to just calm it down, all of a sudden you move better. And did you change the state of the muscle? No, you changed the state of the nervous system.
Right.
So recapping, you go into those tucks, lift the back of the head up, and then pick your restricted movements. Place your hand on the opposite side of the restricted movement
Yeah.
and move into it to calm the system. Another very powerful strategy, I'll give you one more when it comes to the nervous system, is if you have pain with certain movements or positions, before and during you do them, imagine what someone who has no pain at all would mentally be like going into that movement, right? Or think about before you ever had pain, what you would have been thinking if I told you to turn your head to the side. Nothing. You would have just done it very clearly. And you can
Yeah.
even some people who have difficulty with specific movements, I'll have them look at a picture of them in the past doing that movement pain free or someone else or
Yeah.
watch a video and as they do it because you need your brain to be able to connect to that safe zone and
Yeah.
as intelligent as the brain is sometimes you can trick it and once you can do that even though you're distracting or like quote unquote tricking it you're
Yeah.
actually creating a new pattern so those would just be some strategies that you could throw into a little routine if you have pain and specific movements that are limited for you.
There was one that you did, like the second one that you did that was pretty amazing because it was you had you move your head a certain way and your neck a certain way and then you had like it was like a stretch and it
Yeah,
actually felt a relief like if the stretch felt good and it kind of relieved
that's
the
all.
tension in the neck.
That's great. That's amazing. And with that, so that's an example of one where you are creating the space. But if you only did that one, you would be still having to do it all the time, right? Because you were just forcing it into a better position. So it's a good way to start. I call those muscle primers. You're
Yeah.
priming the situation for improvement, but now let's get the nervous system in there, and then we would build strength and look at the lifestyle and yeah, that's kind of like just a small little gist of the way that we would do it.
I like that. You know, you guided over 1,000 plus patients. Like, what transformation still gives you goosebumps?
Oh man, there honestly has been a lot. Dizziness, no pain is fun, of course, but some of the people who are the most miserable are the ones that experience dizziness.
Yeah,
And I had this one girl who had an in constant dizziness. It was about 3 months of constant dizziness. Now,
yeah,
when we look at dizziness, there's vertigo. which is the
Mhm.
crystals in your inner ear, where you turn a certain way, the vertigo hits, and it's just room spinning, going to fall down, dizziness. Most people don't have that. What most people can relate to is this ongoing just discomfort. I'm a little like lightheaded, but like I could go through my day, but this is very uncomfortable. Maybe I've had to stop certain things. She had that. Of
Yeah,
course, it started with neck and jaw pain, and it turned into that. And
right.
she had to actually go down to part-time work. She said that she stopped dating because she didn't feel confident to go out, and she just didn't feel like socializing in general didn't feel good.
Yeah,
Um, and she came into my program. And so what we did was we started going through the strategies that we just went through right now.
right.
And I usually recommend people stick with it for about 3 months. After
Yeah,
2 months, I was just getting emails about like the improvements and how good it had been and everything. And so just that was actually that was one of the first months when the virtual component actually I started it. So I
hmm,
was floored by how well the virtual worked. I think that was a piece of it, and just what an
yeah.
impact it made for the dizziness. And that was kind of one of the most encouraging moments for me to just like really push forward with it all. And that's actually even one of the testimonials on my website if anyone wants to hear her whole story.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's really amazing because when you get that, like, a lot of times it could just last and last. I know people that suffer from that on a daily basis too, and
Yeah.
to be able to like work with somebody and get over that is miraculous.
Well, the thing is, like, sometimes I was just on a call with someone yesterday, and it was actually another person who finished the program, and he was saying like, I just got tired of, you know, there every exercise that you need, every strategy that you need to fix yourself is on the internet, and you've probably even seen it before.
Hmm.
And but the system that you put in or doing the right thing, that's always the difference, between actually getting better and not. So many people are so close, and it just
Yeah.
takes a couple little tweaks. So it's really about the selection, right? There's no magic exercise, no magic strategy. It's just about like, number one, how do you implement it? But number two, um a lot of people just need permission from someone to do it. They're
Yeah.
kind of stuck in that just kind of fear state. So
Yeah.
it's simple when you just break it down like that.
Right. Now, when it comes to sleep, why is the quality of sleep the hidden accelerator in your program?
So that why is sleep like such an important piece? Is that
Yep.
so we focus on in what we focus on is the pillow itself. So there's different guidelines for a pillow. Another thing I always tell people, when you're looking for a pillow, you need to look for the right thickness because it
Yes.
puts your position in head in a certain position, and the curvature,
Hmm.
and because it needs to support your neck in a certain way. Now, sometimes the pre-made, like just a regular pillow that you would buy, they need to get the thickness right and the curvature right for you,
Yeah.
which it's hard to kind of nail all that. Some people get it and it's perfect for them, and that's why it works so well. But a lot of the time, you're like just hoping they figured it out.
Yeah.
So what I usually try to teach people is, lay down in whichever position you fall asleep in, on your side, on your back, and go on your pillow. Have someone take a picture of you from the side. Is your
Hmm.
head in a neutral posture, just like you would be in standing?
Right.
That's your thickness. Then you can take a rolled up towel, or they have these things called cervical rolls that you can put in front of the pillow, inside the pillowcase, and it comes up just a little bit, just to actually fit the curvature of your neck. And you can play with how high that goes. So now you've figured out the thickness and you've figured out what supports your neck best. And by doing that, your sleep, it's depending who you are, 5 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Um, you're in that position, and it dictates the morning. So if you wake up with jaw pain, you may
Hmm.
be clenching at night. If you wake up with neck, shoulder headaches, it could be the neck position. And so we
Yeah.
really focus on that. And then the other thing we focus on is what I talk about is prep, set, and depth. So you need to prepare, you need to set your bedroom, and you need to work to get deeper sleep. So prep would be like having the right mattress, having the right pillow, not exercising before bed or eating or drinking alcohol or staring at your phone.
Yeah.
Set so that's all the different ways you prepare. And then setting it is actually the bedroom. Are the lights dim enough? Are you going in at the right time? Like, how is your bedroom actually set up? Actually, pillow would be in set, and the mattress. And then there's strategies for depth. And so, like, how are you making sure that you fall into the deepest sleep? Are you making sure that if you can't sleep, you get out of bed and then come
Yeah.
back instead of pulsing and turning? And so, because at the end of the day, your sleep, I don't need to be the one to say it, but your sleep is your fuel. And just like anyone who most people know that if you don't get good sleep, you feel a little more, sometimes you feel a little more anxious during the day, or you can't figure out what's
Yeah.
going on. Your body just loses control. And
Mhm.
when it comes to pain, it's the same thing. It loses control, the ability to like maintain the proper positioning and eliminate pain, and everything goes
Yeah.
out. So, and people that's one of the hardest things. You could tell someone, sleep is one of like the most personal habits. So like
Yeah.
it's facilitating that is the most difficult part.
It's true. It's so true. Now, when it comes to your 12-week revitalization plan, you use the community and coaching. How does accountability supercharge healing work?
So, well, some people don't want an accountability partner, but first of all, we actually set people up with accountability partners,
Yeah,
because they really are powerful. I don't
they
know.
are.
Yeah. Have you used an accountability partner before? Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
makes a massive difference in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
Um, but the accountability partner is huge because a lot of people, because it's just headaches, neck and jaw, so including dizziness. And so everyone's suffering from the same things.
Hmm.
So by doing that, people are sharing strategies, they're keeping each other accountable. So that's the accountability partner. We have the community where it's kind of like a more diluted version of that one-on-one accountability partner where I get
Yeah.
involved in the people. And then we do coaching calls. So
Hmm.
basically, anytime you have some type of issue that you're having, or like you can't get over the hump, or you try this thing over and over and it's just not working for you, we have group calls, or there's one-on-one calls also in one of the other programs. So yeah, I mean, it's the reality is you have to be ready to be all in. And when you've been in pain for long enough, that's when you finally accept that. Like when you first start having pain, it's like, oh, this will go away, or I'll just, I'll stretch it sometimes. We'll see what happens. And then
Yeah.
at some point, you're like, there's no way I need to like be all in on this. That's too much effort. But
Yeah.
eventually, most people get there.
I think when you get to the point where you just don't want to feel it anymore and you get that desperate feeling, I'll try anything. And then the things that
Mhm.
you try in the beginning, at towards after suffering for so long in pain, you're willing to try anything. And accountability partners are so powerful. They really keep you in check, and they really make, teach you a lot. And I find
Mm.
it very powerful, actually.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It's you need something. It's funny. It's like every time you think that you've learned what you need to learn, and you can do it on your own, and then you end up reconnecting with someone else. You're like, oh wow, I forgot all those things, and it just happens every time. It's like you
Yeah.
need people around you.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And also, where do you see pain management in the nervous system and training headed for yourself in the next 4 years?
For myself, like what would I plan on doing for that?
Yeah,
So so neuroplasticity is something that we're doubling down on right now because that really dictates how much you get out of every movement and every exercise, and your beliefs create the reality of what you're experiencing. So that's number one. Um, I plan on taking I feel that the core program that I have, people need to go through that to build the foundation. But I recognize there's other needs. Like you have something when it comes to this head, neck, and jaw. There's certain
yeah,
things that we know work that you have to
yeah,
go through. But beyond that, there's other specific pieces that we may have to add on, like, oh, maybe there's something going on with the hip, or your breathing or tongue movement, anything in the maybe even like there's something going on with your shoulder. So I think that the future for what I'm going to do is have the core program that I just discussed, and then adding on other supplementary mini programs to
Hmm.
to kind of address those specific what I would call secondary impairments. And then from there, we want to do like big workshops, like in-person workshops,
Oh, I like
kind of
that.
like 3-day accelerators where we do education. And for anyone who's seen my social media, um, we're very, very, very focused on education. Like how like ridiculously good can we come educate people? Like how many visuals, how many times do we need to work on exactly what we say to make sure it's as clear as possible? And
Yeah.
so I like that's the main focus of the business, because if you can educate someone, then they can get the breakthroughs that they need.
Yeah.
So we're going to be very education focused, and I want to, like I said, bring that. I think it would be cool to have like 2 and 3 day seminars and workshops where we can have like live visuals and like other experts there as well. So some of the things that I've been thinking about.
I like that idea. Now, what's your favorite stress buster in that you could do in 60 seconds?
Um, well, one thing that we do is called neuroplastic strengthening. So if you feel that you could use it just for stress, with my population, we always tie it to pain or
Yeah.
symptoms too. Sometimes it's not pain, it's like ear fullness or it's just pressure, discomfort, tension. Where you take an object, something very visual,
Hmm.
anything. I have this like red mushroom in my office, so I always use that as an example.
Yeah.
And you close your eyes, you envision that mushroom, you envision the texture of it, what it would feel like to touch it, how it looks, every detail you can. And you stay focused on that. You start for 60 seconds
Yeah.
and you try to not think about your pain at all. And if the pain starts coming in, you acknowledge it without emotion. You say, okay, I see that. I say hello to the pain. It's like, okay, I see the pain's coming in. Now's not the time. I'm going to deal with this later. So you try to separate the logic from the emotion, because the emotions will set
Yeah.
you off. And you see if you keep doing that until you can get through a whole minute without actually bringing it in. And then we build on that. So it's not as much of like an immediate,
Hmm.
but it is something to work on for like a longer term effect. And then
Hmm.
some of the ways to stimulate the vagus nerve for like immediate relaxation is actually gargling would
Oh
be
yeah.
one. Humming, yeah, because the vagus nerve innervates the throat
Yeah.
all the way to the ears. So
Hmm.
humming is one, and gargling actually as well can stimulate that relaxation.
I didn't realize that. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it is. It's fascinating.
it is fascinating. Now, is there a specific favorite book that you really enjoy, that you feel is really beneficial, that can benefit people?
So one of the things I started with years ago, I'm sure you know John Sarno.
Hmm.
So he has since passed, but he was the head of an orthopedic department in Manhattan, and he started seeing that the people with certain personality types or different type of emotional issues had pain for longer periods of time, and he started an entire approach about actually focusing on the emotions and allowing. So basically, it's pretty interesting. The theory was that if you have an emotional issue or a trauma that's unprocessed,
Yes.
or you have a physical pain like a shoulder problem,
Yeah.
that that or if you have physical pain, what would be more detrimental to my life? Well,
Right.
then it would definitely be the emotional trauma, because that could completely like paralyze your actions and
Yeah.
relationships and everything. So what we're going to do is give you physical pain so that
Hmm.
you are focused on that pain and you don't get a chance to process the emotions, because you could deal with that pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the point was to start processing those traumas. And so his like master book on it is called The Divided Mind. um
Wow.
yeah. Now I've found though, because I have a lot of people that don't have emotional trauma, don't have or trauma or emotional issues, they have pain. So the framework that I use in PhysioLoops is ETA, which is for the nervous system: emotions, So
Hmm.
how your emotions can impact pain, which is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's just kind of one piece of it. And trust is the second piece, which is now this is just your body has been injured and it wants to hang on to restrict movement. So everything tightens up.
Yeah.
So we need to teach the body to retrain trust. And then the third part is awareness, just constantly focusing on the pain.
Yeah.
So someone could have emotional issues. Someone could have no emotional issues. They don't think about their pain a lot, but their body just is in a state of fear. So they're the trust one. And some people could have their body has no fear. They have no emotion, no emotional problems, but they just think about their pain all the time. And all three of
Right.
those can keep you in pain. And the reason I bring that up is because I found that John Sarno's stuff is really good at that one emotional piece, but it's only
Yeah.
one. It's only about one piece of it, and many people don't have that, and so that's not
Yeah.
enough. And we need to look at the whole picture.
That's yeah, that is very interesting, and it's very, very true. And it's funny too is that when you were talking before earlier, you mentioned about distractions, and a lot of times that when my arm would hurt, I'd wrap a soft blanket around my arm, and if
Hmm.
for some reason the softness would distract the pain, and it actually made my arm feel better when I would
Yeah,
go to bed at night. Because when
yeah,
I would go to bed, I'd feel discomfort because we're more aware of our bodies when we're just laying there. But when I took that fuzzy blanket and I wrapped it around my arm, I didn't feel the discomfort because my
yeah.
brain was focusing more on that soft fuzziness of the blanket that I was feeling instead of the pain itself.
That's great that you figured that out. You were intuitive enough to figure that out. That's called the gate control theory, and it's that that's like think about like if a kid falls down and like hurts a shoulder, what mommy kisses the boo boo and it feels better.
Yeah, yeah,
Aside from
yeah.
the love from the mother, it's the physical thing. Or you fall down, you rub your shoulder,
Yeah.
you're doing exactly what you said. You're shutting down the pain pathway and you're allowing something else to come up.
It was pretty amazing because it always worked. It was
You just needed to, yeah, you need to wear just turtlenecks everywhere then.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I wish I thought about that. Now, do you have like a daily mantra that you go by that helps you?
I'll be honest, I don't have like a mantra that I use. I have one with that we use in the program sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's about understanding it's coming from your brain.
Hmm.
So the mantra is um the pain is from my brain and I can retrain.
Oh,
So
I like that.
yeah, just real simple because a lot of the reality is that when you've been in pain for a while, you're convinced that something is horribly wrong or that,
Right.
something bad is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
There has to be something broken in there. Like I'm never going to recover. And so there's a lot of catastrophizing about it. And so if you can, a mantra like that is a starting point. But I find that with mantras, they can be empty if they're not followed up. So like another thing with neuroscience is that shows that like obsession and
Yeah.
intensity or actually creates neuroplasticity changes. So you need to be putting the effort in and hyper focused on action. And a
Yeah.
mantra will supplement that well, but it can't be done in a vacuum
Yeah.
um, without action.
Wow. That's so true. That
Yeah,
really is. Now,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, just usually the things that take more energy are the things that work.
It is true because in our fast-paced world, everyone wants a fast, quick fix, and there is
Right.
no fast, quick fix. I found in life the things that took time were the things that turned out the best. You got the best results from. Nothing, especially when it comes to healing, is one, two, three. And
Yeah.
it's funny when I see commercials or I see little advertisements and stuff like that. They make it like it's
Yeah.
gonna
The
happen
quick
overnight.
fix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because nothing that works is quick. It takes time,
Yeah.
and those are usually the things that are the most effective is the ones that take time. It's so
Right.
true.
Yeah, and you've been doing this a long time, right? So you kind of have seen like I'm sure a lot of people with the right versus wrong mindset around it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Now, if you had to take today's conversation, you wanted to emphasize on a couple important factors, what are some
Mhm.
things you'd like to emphasize that you want the listeners to take away today?
So the first thing that I would say is that you number one, you have to control your variables, meaning that you want to listen to your body and you want it to give you the information that you can utilize to make the next decision. And
Right?
so you need to pick an approach and you need to move with it and learn from it instead of just randomly trying things.
That's so
Okay.
true.
That's very, very important. Um, that would be number one. Number two would be that the muscles of your body only become painful and dysfunctional because the nervous system tells them to be that way,
Right.
right? Unless someone, punches you in the shoulder, your shoulder muscle doesn't hurt out of nowhere. And we need to
Yeah.
look back at the nervous system and the root cause.
Right.
So, control your variables so you can get the right information um, is definitely probably the most important thing that I preach to everybody.
Yeah.
And then just making sure, that when you move through whatever process you're going through, you commit to it.
I love that. Now, where can you tell us a little about the services that you provide?
Yeah. So my first of all, people can find me anywhere at Dr. Joe Damiani, Dr. Joe Damiani, on all social media. Instagram is my main place where I interact with people. My website is physioloops.com. So physio, PhysioLoops.com. That's where they can work with me in different capacities or just like look through the blog and get some free resources.
Right.
Um, and if people, and I have what we were talking about, my program, which is a 12 level program that is structured to be 3 months long. Some people finish quicker, some people take longer, but it's structured in levels so people can move on to the next level once they're ready.
Right.
And that you can find at physioloops.com or linked from my social handles. And I have a coupon code for your listeners. It's the advisor. So they just put in as one big word, the advisor, and they'll get 30% off of the program. So yeah, that's where they can find me.
That's awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I thank you so much for coming on the show today. You've been amazing. You've provided us with such great information and so many people in our society suffer from pain and they just don't know what to do and a lot of people they resort to pills or they resort to surgeries and instead
Yeah,
of going the more natural route and trying to figure out, is there a solution that I could naturally do that will actually help me, reduce or prevent or get rid of the pain that I'm experiencing. And I really, commend you for, doing the physical therapy and creating this online program and creating this community and accountability program where people could actually work together with you and actually get through and learn how to get rid of pain on a more natural basis because so many of the pain medications are addictive. They cause other symptoms and before you know it people are taking more than one bottle, they're taking two or three and
yeah,
they're having all these symptoms and or doing a lot of unnecessary surgeries. I see that all the time, people getting surgeries that are unnecessary that they could have
yep,
avoided if they
yep,
went the more natural route. So I commend you for what you're doing and for teaching and helping people and getting people better, because we need more people out there healing people more naturally, and preventing people from having to experience excruciating pain, but and helping them get rid of it, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight,
right,
and anyone that thinks so needs to change their mindset because healing takes time and but if you could do it naturally, I highly suggest doing it naturally if you could do it naturally because it's such a better route and it's healthier for the body. It's healthier for your body, everything, your mind, everything.
yeah,
And we don't have to always do all these other things that people say work, and a lot of times they don't work. And some people get surgeries and they have to go back for surgeries, and because the surgery only lasts a couple of years. So,
right.
you know,
Well, what I think that's very well said. It's a great message to kind of wrap up with and put out there because, like you said, like if you can go natural, I just think you said it very well. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for being on the show. I hope you'll come back and we can talk more. And
Yeah,
I appreciate you and I appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much.
thanks a lot, Stacey. I really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.